Okay, it is recording. So the first question is Chapter 15, Those Who Can Teach, goes over what it takes to be a professional educator. What does being a professional educator mean to you as an aspiring educator? Each group member discuss their personal definition of what it means to be a professional educator.
I can start. Okay, so I guess to me, being a professional educator is just being able to reach a whole bunch of kids on a different level than you would be able to in any other occupation, maybe other than a coach or something. I just feel like teachers have a huge impact on society and kids. Like we've talked about that in class, how important teachers are to society. And so I just feel like to me, just being able to impact as many kids as possible in a positive way is kind of what it means, is what it means to me to be an educator.
I said caring and helping every student grow and watching them grow and, pick out their strengths and make them show and show them what their strengths are, make it obvious, and so they can grow that way and use those strengths on.
Is it Daniela's or is it my connection that are popping out?
Yeah, I was doing the same for me. I heard most of what she said, but just towards the end.
Yeah, it was just a little skip towards the end. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay, yeah, I kind of think it's mine.
Okay.
I live in Wellsville,
I heard
so
most of it.
there's only one internet we can choose from, and it sucks. That's awesome. Okay, I said for each student, and then picking out their strengths and helping them pick oh my god, I said
I think
showing them their strengths and making them grow from their strengths, basically.
Okay. So I know
I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything, Danielle?
No.
Okay.
Now I can. I'm coming back.
I put the one at the end that I really liked, the 4 points that they made at the end, towards the end of the chapter, about developing your professional development and accepting that it's possible to improve and all of that. And that kind of put me to the conclusion of professional development and professionalism is openness and being willing to learn new things, to get what you need to have done, and being open to reaching out to other people. Because one of the scenarios in the beginning was the two teachers on the either side of her were complaining about the noise in her classroom, and none of those teachers communicated with each other at all. They all went to the vice principal and were fighting with each other. And I think instead of going straight to the vice principal, it would have helped if she had just approached them and said, "Hey, I heard that you were having a little bit of trouble with this. I was wondering what we can do to compromise with this. And I want to make sure that you guys, my teaching environment isn't compromising your teaching environment, and I want to make sure we're good." So being open to doing that things and saying that hey, maybe I'm doing something wrong here, I can learn from you. You can being open about that kind of stuff and being willing. And I think that's a big part of professional development and being a professional educator.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think a lot of it is one thing is you have to take your job seriously, and also just put your best effort into it.
Okay. So question 2 says, in part 3 in Teach Like a Pirate, the author discusses building a better pirate. What is the biggest takeaway from part 3? Each member please discuss.
I'll start again. So I said I liked the chapter Finding a Crew, because I think just kind of like what Amber said is that it's so important not to like, you can't do everything on your own, you know, you need to be able to work together with your coworkers and like other teachers, because that's so beneficial like in so many ways. When I did my teacher interview, she talked about, like the teacher that I interviewed talked about how important it is and how much better it's made the job, and like she succeeds more when she's able to like share her work and her like curriculum with other teachers, and they kind of like say what works for them and what works best for like different classes and stuff. So yeah, I feel like just developing relationships with teachers, just with other teachers and just with students was so important. So I think the Finding a Crew chapter was really important from part 3.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to like extend your crew out from like not just your coworkers, but like teachers at other schools, or like so like simply doing something like emailing someone of like, hey, I heard that you were using like this thing to teach this thing and I'm really interested in that. Could you tell me more about it? And different stuff like that I think is important too, of like being willing to go further than just your building. Does that
Yeah,
make
like communicating with other teachers literally just will improve your own teaching. So yeah,
Yeah,
super.
exactly. Daniela?
I said in the Where Do I Start chapter, and I chose the fear of failure in that thing, and I chose that because I feel like I'm constantly thinking of like, what if this doesn't work, and like in the past it hasn't worked, or you know, like just constantly thinking of like everything that could go wrong, and it kind of you know, tells you like to stop thinking like that, and gives you examples of people that, you know, did that, and like it says, talking about how life isn't 100% or fail. Like you can learn, you could kind of like, you could not succeed in something and still learn so much, and I think that's important to think about too. Think about the positives.
So, the little drummer boy analogy actually stuck out to me because they're saying it's really about like you're doing your best and you're doing like it's unique to you. And even if it's not necessarily like the best, it's still gonna get through to people.
Yeah. Well, we just moved, so I don't have my book. So we're looking for it now. I got lost in the move. So I'm gonna go to 3, and if I find it before tomorrow, I'll comment mine down there. But number 3 is each member please state your reaction to the documentary Teach Us All. Do you want to start again, Summer?
Yeah, if that just works, you can just like do an order or something. So yeah, I thought it was like, I got kind of emotional at certain parts of it. Just like there was one part of this little girl who moved from El Salvador, and she was going to school, you know, now in the US. And I just thought the documentary was really interesting because it not only like showed how relevant segregation still is in schools today, but how important it is to have segregated schools. Like there's even kids that like mentioned how important it is, like for their learning environment, to be around people with different cultures and races, because they learn from that, you know. So I thought that I really liked the documentary. It was really interesting.
Yeah, I kind of think the same thing, because like they always say that well, I mean, not like a lot of people say that traveling is like the best way to learn, because you learn different cultures, different ways of life. Like you realize there's so much more than what you just see like in your hometown, or like a little bit out of your hometown, out of Kansas. There's so much more out of United States. There's so much more. And so I think that's really important. And I thought that was really eye-opening, because you don't really think about like how still like, I mean, I'm from Wellsville, okay, so we're not super, It's mostly white people. It's small Republican town. We have like 14 churches, so like that's, I don't know, but it's cool to go outside of my town and realize like there's so much more like in other schools. Like going to Johnson County, I was like, this is crazy, like so much more to outside of my town than, and so I just think it's really important to venture out, and it was really eye-opening to see how to think, like I didn't really realize like how segregated we still are, and it was kind of sad, like just watching it I cried. So yeah.
So I was sitting watching it with my boyfriend, and I was like, I'm about to cry.
Yeah, I'm super sensitive, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually had to step away from it and then come back and finish it because I actually did my observations at a Title I school who over 80% come from families below the poverty line, 63% Hispanic. I'm going to start crying right now. And I just kept seeing the kids that I did observations with in different people that were like different kids and different people that were being represented. And it like made me think about those kids a lot and like how much I'd rather be in the classroom with them right now and all the struggles that they're going to have to face. And like that school has people that are moving like from Columbia and coming into 3rd and 4th grade not speaking English at all. And so like I just saw a lot of the kids that I worked with in them and all the struggles that they're going to face, and like it really built my resolve of like what I want to do, because like my teaching philosophy is every student has the right to feel safe in an environment where there is equal opportunity to reach full potential. And so I talked about in the paper, I quoted people like talking about how school is a prison and how people don't listen to them and people don't understand their experiences. And that was all reiterated within that documentary. And so I thought it was really interesting how I had already brought up all of this and talked about all of this, and then just to see it like implemented somewhere else. And that was just really, yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking
It's
about
like,
all the kids.
no, it's like inspiring in a lot of ways. It makes you just want to be such a better teacher for all those kids because it's just like so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, like, yeah, it was pretty eye-opening. Like, I have to admit, like, yeah, as a white person who's surrounded by, like, honestly, mostly white people, like, that's not stuff I think about it's not stuff I think about all the time. So, yeah, I think it was a good wake-up call for me.
I'm sorry. Train.
Way to break the tension. Good timing.
Jeez.
So number 4 is now that we have read Top 20 Teachers and Teach Like a Pirate, what are your thoughts on each of the books?
So I'm not a huge reader at all. Like if reading, that's just not, I don't know. I've never been into reading, but I actually like literally liked these books. Cause I feel like it wasn't more so like a book. It was literally like advice and, it was really interesting to me. It gave a lot of good tips that I know I'm gonna like implement into my own teaching in the future. So I enjoyed both of these books.
I agree. I'm not a big reader. But I thought that Top 20 Teachers was more textbooky, and I liked it still, and it was still really interesting to read all of it. But I definitely favored Teach Like a Pirate. It was like talking to someone almost. He's just like very honest, very, very not textbooky. I don't know. Like it was like.
It almost kind of felt like when we would have speakers come and talk to our class, it kind of just felt
just super like almost like homey, but I don't want to say homey, like you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I really liked it though, and I really liked like you could just the guy's personality just shine through the book, and I thought it was really cool and really easy to understand, like to get and stuff. I really liked it.
Yeah, I kind of agree that Teach Like a Pirate was kind of like Summer said, like a presenter. Like when someone came and talked with us and it's someone talking with us. And I don't really know why, but I felt like Top 20 Teachers was actually an easier read for me. And I think it might be like with ADHD, the way it's like
Set up,
yeah, like the way it's
super pleasing. I
and
agree.
the ease and the extra, like, I feel like that might have just helped with my ADHD a little bit more. I don't know why. But I felt like Top 20 was an easier read. But I feel like both books are books that every educator should read and should have in their library. And one of these, like, Teach Like a Pirate was a rented book, but I think I'm just going to purchase it because I want to have both of the, like, I want to keep both of these books and have them to like look back on and like just to reread when I like periodically throughout the years. Like they're both books that I think everybody should read and everybody should keep. Like they're so great and they're great to come back to too. Because like you never get everything on the first read. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you never see
You always
everything.
notice two things.
Yeah. So
No, I feel like
Or
these,
it means something else to you later on too.
yeah, like
Yeah.
different experiences can lead you to read it differently.
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say like I'm definitely keeping these books as well, and it's probably something down the road when I am a teacher. If I'm feeling defeated, I know I can probably go back and read that book, and it's gonna motivate me to like be a better teacher.
Remind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also definitely like to Teach Like a Pirate better. Yeah, I really like all the like hook ideas, and I'm excited to someday be able to incorporate them into my classroom.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Top 20 was a little bit like overall, and then Teach Like a Pirate was a little bit like more specialized within the curriculum of like hooks and like creativity and like how to teach. And then Top 20 is kind of like your experience of a teacher and like you like trampolines and the frames and how to be a teacher overall, and then like how to teach is a pirate. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think they're both awesome. All right. Anything else? Okay. And